In this demo, I'm going to show the latest developments in Apromore Copilot. Our Copilot is a conversational interface that exposes a number of process intelligence tools, such as tools for discovery, analysis, and simulation. For example, you can inquire about the structure or performance of a process discovered with Apromore, or even ask what-if questions to assess potential improvement or change scenarios. That's pretty powerful. Let's see that in action. Let me log into Apromore. And let me start with a dashboard. In Apromore 10.3, I can now set dashboards as home pages. Here's my home page for field service. Assume I'm a field service manager. Here I can see all the metrics and KPIs that are relevant to me, such as the number of work orders, the average duration and cost per work order, and KPIs such as on-time performance, first touch resolution rate, and appointments cancelled. For example, you can see that my on-time performance SLA demands that at least 70% of work orders are processed within a week, and unfortunately this SLA isn't met. Now, from the dashboard, I can directly inspect the underlying business process for field service to find out what's going on with this KPI. Let's jump into it. This is the process Apromore has automatically discovered from Salesforce Field Service Cloud. The log covers a period that spans from mid-October 2022 till beginning of February 2023, covering about 4 months. There's about 20,000 work orders my company has processed in this period, and they follow about 1,000 unique pathways from beginning to end. If I move my abstraction slider for the arcs to 100%, I'll expose the naked complexity of this process. Indeed, I can see there's quite a large number of decision pathways from the time the case is created until the time the case is fulfilled. Let's now open our Copilot and ask a bunch of questions. Let me start by asking Copilot what are the best spots in this end-to-end process for implementing my agents to work alongside users, so that I can reduce my average case duration and meet my SLAs. You can see that the average case duration is indeed 1.3 hours, and the average case cost is about $540. I'll start with these questions. Give me the top 3 tasks to support with an agent based on duration, frequency, and cost. So it has highlighted work order scheduled with an average duration of 19 hours, case created with an average duration of nearly 15 hours, and case reopen down at the end of the process with an average duration of about 15 hours. I can also see their relative frequency and their total cost. And if I switch to duration, I see indeed that these activities are the ones that have the longest average duration in my process. So Copilot is recommending to start by adding an agent in work order scheduled. But does it really make sense to put an agent here in work order scheduled as opposed, for example, to case created? What would be the impact on my specific SLAs? Let's find out. I'm going to ask now a question that really tests the impact of putting an agent on automating a given percentage of times that activity work order schedule and what that impact is going to be on my SLA. So I have a 1-week SLA on average case duration. Do I meet this SLA if I automate work order scheduled with an agent, let's say 30% of the times? So now Apromore is actually running a simulation scenario in background. Out of this particular question, it is extracting the simulation parameters to build on the fly a what-if scenario that then is going to run for me. And now I can see the result. The duration is going to drop from 1.3 weeks to 4.76%, with a reduction of nearly 50%. And the total cost is also going to decrease by about 12%. So in terms of SLA status, yes, I will meet my 1-week SLA by automating work order schedule by 30%. And then it gives me a summary of what the impact will be on my average case duration, as well as in terms of cost saving, about $333,000 of cost saved. So as you can see, this drops the average case duration below 1 week, giving me confidence that this is the right place to automate with an agent. But now what if demand now increases by 15%? For example, imagine we are going through a merger which will bring about 15% more demand to my field service process. Let's test that out. What if demand increases by 15%? How does this impact on my average case duration and cost? So here it says that a 15% increase in demand has indeed a detrimental effect on my case duration and cost. Plus 63% in terms of average case duration, goes up to over 2 weeks, and a slight increase in the average case cost, plus 3.6%. I can also see how this impacts negatively on a number of resources, such as my technician, my dispatcher, my field supervisor, and so on. And here, as usual, is a summary. While a 15% increase in demand has a detrimental impact on my case duration and cost, and I was expecting that, what I did not expect is that they would increase significantly. And that is because of the increased strain in a number of operational resources. So let me try something else now. Let me bring back that idea of automating work order schedule for 30% of its time. So do I drop my average case duration below 1 week if demand increases by 15% and I automate work order schedule 30% of the times? So let's see if it works now. Unfortunately, it does not. It gets almost the same, from 1.3 to nearly 1.4 weeks. So it doesn't make it. I need to try and increase the automation rate. Let's try with an automation rate of 50%. So basically 1 work order out of 2 is scheduled automatically. Great. I can see that by pushing the automation rate of this task work order scheduled to up to 50%, then the average case duration can drop again below 1 week. I also have a very positive impact on the total cost, which goes down by 19%. Now the next step from here could be to use Apromore task mining to get inside the work order scheduled by mining the actual user routine on top of Salesforce and any other system that is involved in the execution of this process. Then I can actually also optimize the user routine by using simulation before distilling the actions that I can use to train or guardrail my agent.